Hey, deserving listeners, sister wives, let's watch.
Then all of a sudden I started getting texts from him having to do with the conversation that I was having with her on the phone. And it really scared me.
Did you think you were being bugged?
I didn't know if I was being bugged. I didn't know if she had something on my phone, that she was listening to everything.
All right, so to catch you up, this is the first episode in season 10. So this is the next season after the catfishing was revealed later in season 9. So I don't know how long after that disclosure was made. It appears as though, so right now they're in, family or couple therapy, I guess, with Nancy. And the way they're talking, it seems like this might have been soon after the reunion or the tell-all from last season. And they're talking about the catfishing. And it's notable, I didn't show this clip, but they're kind of, I think what they're doing is they're reviewing it for the audience because they're going over a lot of the same material. And for Janelle, though, she had a reaction because we hadn't, at the tell-all, we saw Janelle get up in arms and say that when she found out about it, she wanted to put her armor on and go to war with this person because this person was threatening her family and someone that she loved, Mary. And so we saw that, but we also saw another reaction from Janelle today that is very common, but unfortunate in that Janelle can't relate. She's saying, I don't understand why Mary fell for it. I don't understand why Mary didn't push back. And I get it, but if you don't understand what it feels like or what it could feel like to be threatened and gaslit and abused, then you just don't know it, I guess. So Janelle seems to be coming from that place, which doesn't help, I think, because it can feel victim blaming and it could come across. I don't know how Mary receives it, but that's what Janelle was saying in a one-on-one interview. And so what she's now saying is that she's giving more detail about the worries about being bugged, right? She had previously said that she was paranoid about her house being bugged, but now we're getting some more specifics, and maybe there's a lot more stories, but she is saying something. Yeah, so what she's saying is that she's on the phone with a friend, like an ongoing friend, outside of this situation. So I suppose there's another possibility that this friend was a part of that group or something. I don't know. But let's assume that that's not the case because it sounds by context that Mary has a lot of reasons to believe that this friend is legit. So she's on the phone with a friend, and then the friend receives texts from the victimizer, from the stalker, referring to things that they were talking about in the phone conversation. Okay, so there's a number of possibilities. The one possibility that I would say is the most likely is that there was software installed on Mary's phone that allowed this individual or individuals to monitor what was being done on the phone. I don't know about voice calls, though. But anyway, it's not hard to do this. You have to be careful about what you click on when you're getting nefarious emails, so I guess that it could be. I could see a scenario where when Mary was still enamored with this individual, that she sent a link and said, "You got to sign up for this thing," and it was a phishing attempt or something, or some kind of. I don't know very much about this technology. All I know is that if someone wants to get into your phone, generally speaking, they have to install something on your phone, and the way they do that is to trick you into installing something or logging in when you think you're doing something else. Anyway, so you could absolutely imagine that happening. Maybe Mary will mention something, and that's the most likely scenario, because how could the stalker text the friend? How would the stalker even know how to contact the friend? How would she know what was being talked about? The other possibility is that the house was bugged and that she was listening through that. That's less likely, because that would require someone coming into the house and bugging the house. And with modern technology, it's easier than in previous years, but it still requires you to physically be there as opposed to just sending a nefarious link to someone. The other possibility is that the stalker just guessed right. That can happen sometimes. Some nefarious individuals will want to appear as though they have broken into your phone. In my world, it's abusive people that will do this. And like, actually, one of this popped in my head because it's in this direction. It's not a good example, but it's in this category. If you watched me watch Love Is Blind Season 6 with Jimmy and Chelsea, if you remember their big fight, and Chelsea said, I know that Sarah was there, or whoever it was. I can't remember this other cast member, I think, is what Chelsea was really focusing in on. And Jimmy was saying she wasn't there. So for Chelsea, she could have been either consciously or unconsciously engaging in this sort of behavior where they are just throwing a lot of stuff at the wall, and sometimes they get it right. Sometimes they just intuit what the other person is trying to hide. Like, if you have kids that might be trying to get away with something, hopefully your kids aren't doing this a lot, but if you've had kids who are, like, I guess a common example is you have two kids in another room playing, and all of a sudden you hear one of them start to cry or something, and you go in there and they're both making accusations about each other. And from experience what likely happened, but you don't know, and you're trying to get the story and you're not getting a straight story. And so you say, well, actually, and even though this isn't true, you say, well, actually, I was walking by and what I saw was this. And then one of the kids is like, okay, fine, because you guessed right. So sometimes these stalkers will engage in that because they know that it can work. And some people are really good at what they call, what do they call it? Cold reading. Cold reading, in that it can be even used to make it look like you're psychic, like you can read minds, or that you can talk with the dead. It's well known that psychics that claim to be able to speak with your loved ones are using these cold reading techniques. It's actually impressive how good people can be. I mean, it's the same as being a magician. If you've ever seen someone with cards or something, they'll make something disappear, and you're just like, there's no other explanation other than that this person is a wizard. They're like supernatural. There's no, how did the card end up in my shoe? It's impossible. They must be able to transport things. And the thing to ask yourself, or the thing I ask myself, is if they could break the fundamental laws of physics with their mind, they would not be working for, minimum wage or something, or they wouldn't be doing tricks on the street for the occasional $5 bill. They would be transforming the world. They would be the most powerful person on the planet that has ever lived. They could do so many things and monetize that. Or they could just be a mastermind criminal and just steal shit from the bank. They could just transport stuff into their pocket. So there's an explanation, and I watch a fair amount of YouTube channels where they break down how to do it, and I'm still impressed. What really you learn is just how practiced and how good these people are. And as a part of this, a lot of tricks involve actually intuiting very well and picking up on little details, and also knowing what are common experiences that people go through. Like, one of the things that you will find people that claim that they're psychic is, especially when they have customers, because people come to psychics or they come to these supernatural professionals when they are stressed out about something. They're stressed out about, should I leave my husband or not? Or should I take this job? Or what's going on with my kid? I don't know what's happening. And so you'll hear, and I've done, because I'll recreationally sit down with a psychic at a party or something, and just for fun, and it can be fun. And you notice that there's certain questions that they will ask or certain assumptions that they'll make, and it'll be along these lines. So a stalker can actually do this as well. They could just figure, like, how the stalker would know that she was taught. So it's possible. So here's another possibility. So this is just, I'm just throwing it out there that it doesn't really matter because either way, the stalker was nefariously using a lot of techniques to coerce and control and intimidate and harm. But I'm just trying to figure out how involved this person was. And most likely it was just software that she convinced Mary to install. But anyway, so the possibility is that the stalker had found out, possibly because a number of people, possibly because of a subreddit group of people actually figuring out who were her friends and got their information. You could see people doing that, right? And then made that known to the other people. And so this stalker just had a list of people, and maybe Mary mentioned that she was going to talk with a friend later, and the stalker figured there's 3 people that she's likely talking to, and so she just started randomly texting the 3 of them and wanted to make it seem as though she has hacked into her phone or has bugs or something in the house and listening devices in the house. And so she sends random texts to these 3 people, hoping that it's one of them, and will say things like, I know what you're doing right now, and kind of leave it amorphous enough so that it's not specific, and say things like, I know what you're doing right now. And then the friend is like, who is this? And responds back or something. And then the stalker is like, I know that I know that Mary's talking to you right now about me because I'm listening or something. Because maybe Mary and the woman had a fight, right? And so you know what I'm saying. So it doesn't really matter what the method is, but it matters to me because if they installed devices in the house, that is like, it's already at a really high level of immorality and harm and Machiavellianism and potential psychopathy. It could be even a ring of people, or it could just be one person. It often is just one person, but could have helpers or something online. Anyway, it's already at a high level, but if it's installing devices in the house, and that's even higher and way more, to me, concerning. It's one thing for someone to stalk from afar. It's another thing for them to figure out a way to break in your house. God knows what they do. But anyway, so let's watch more. This episode is sponsored by BetterHelp. So it's December, and for me anyway, the holiday season is filled with fond memories. I know that's not true for everyone, but regardless of one's personal experiences, I think that December is a good time to get a nice cozy blanket and get cozy, that kind of thing, at least for those of us in the northern latitudes. And speaking of getting cozy, I suppose one could say that therapy is a great place to get cozy with ourselves, to wrap the warm blanket of therapy around us. And with the advent of online therapy, you can even stay home and go to therapy and sit on your favorite couch and be wrapped up in your favorite blanket. Well, one place you can find a therapist to do this with is at BetterHelp. If you're thinking of starting therapy, it's definitely worth giving a try. So find comfort this December with BetterHelp. Visit BetterHelp.com/Kirk today to get 10% off your first month. That's BetterHelp, HELP.com/Kirk.
But I was so scared she'd put something in my house to listen to conversations or to see stuff.
What kind of lowlife digs into your life and manipulates this way?
I get so angry. I get so angry at myself when I still get emotional or feel anxiety about it because this stupid person still just has this much control over me, and it just pisses me.
Yeah, that's a very common feeling, and it's understandable. But if it gets in the way of recovery, it's not going to help to beat oneself up for having very normal feelings. Yeah, it sucks. You could be involved with someone for 2 months and need 20 years to recover from their abuse. That's upsetting to think that just 2 months of time can give that much ongoing pain and anxiety and emotion. It's aggravating, but it's not an indication that you're holding on to it or that you're weak or anything. It's totally normal.
Because I'm not a weak person. God, it just pisses me off at myself.
Mary, the fact that she carried this alone, Mary, that you carried this alone by itself makes it very clear you're not a weak person. Most people would have folded a lot sooner and said, I need your help. And I don't sense that anybody in this room thinks that you are weak.
Far be it from me to criticize anyone's technique, and I'm not there, but I appreciate the effort here of you're not weak. This is not a sign of weakness. Yeah. However, the backing of that claim is that you're so strong that you did this by yourself. Okay, so I guess it's not as I don't have as much of an issue with it when I say it out loud, but it wouldn't be something that I would say, because that implies that to keep things to oneself is a sign of strength, and it's not. It's not necessarily a sign of weakness either, but it's not strong, and it's not healthy to try to do things by yourself. All right, well, let's adjourn there. Everyone out there, please take care of yourself because you deserve it. You really, really do.